Welcome to our immigration briefing show. Today, we're diving into some fascinating stories from around the world. First up, Japan's recent upper house election has thrown a curveball at Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's government. The ruling coalition, mainly the LDP, faced a tough defeat, losing their majority and paving the way for a possible political shakeup. Opposition parties like Sanseito and the CDP made impressive gains, especially among younger voters, signaling a shift in Japan's political landscape. It's a tense time, but Ishiba is determined to stay on, emphasizing ongoing negotiations with the US and key economic issues. Next, in Manhattan, a shocking incident unfolded when an off-duty Border Patrol agent was shot during what appears to be a botched robbery in a park beneath the George Washington Bridge. The officer, targeted while sitting in the park, returned fire, and the suspect fled the scene. Thankfully, the officer is stable and expected to recover. This incident highlights the risks faced by immigration enforcement officers, especially as concerns about safety and illegal activity increase. The authorities believe the shooting wasn't politically motivated but underscore the dangers these officers face daily. Finally, let's uncover what's really inside your passport. When you travel, your passport isn't just a travel document, it's packed with data. From personal details and travel history to security watch lists and even social media activity, modern border checks access a vast amount of information. Countries like Australia, the US, and the UK use advanced tech to analyze this data, sometimes even detaining travelers based on online behavior or digital device scans. It's a complex web that raises important questions about privacy and security in today's digital age. Please continue to stay tuned for more detailed stories. Nikkei Asia vividly captures the tumultuous aftermath of Japan's upper house election, where the public's voice resoundingly rejected Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's ruling coalition, stripping it of its majority. The election unfolded amid a backdrop of economic strain, with key issues such as inflation, taxes, and immigration taking center stage. The results revealed a significant shift in political dynamics. The Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, once dominant, failed to secure a seat in Osaka for the first time in 27 years, while opposition parties like the Democratic Party for the People, DPFP, and the populist Sanseito made substantial gains. The election's intense atmosphere was underscored by internal party tensions, with veteran figures like Taro Aso openly questioning Ishiba's leadership, hinting at possible leadership upheaval. Voter turnout surged to nearly 58%, signaling heightened engagement, yet the overall results painted a picture of a nation demanding change, with the ruling coalition facing the stark reality of diminished power and the opposition emboldened to push forward their reform agendas. The Japan election coverage from Japan Foresight provides a gripping narrative of the unfolding political drama, highlighting the decisive moments as vote counts poured in. As the results became clearer, the ruling coalition's precarious position was underscored by projections indicating they might fall below the 50-seat threshold needed to maintain control, with some estimates suggesting they could secure as few as 27 seats. Opposition parties, especially the Constitutional Democratic Party, CDP, and Sanseito, capitalized on voter dissatisfaction, promising reforms like abolishing the gasoline tax and advocating for social welfare policies aligned with the public's economic anxieties. Prime Minister Ishiba, despite acknowledging the tough race, remained defiant, asserting the importance of national security and tariff negotiations with the US, even as the political landscape shifted beneath him. The election's outcome not only challenged the status quo but also signaled a potential turning point for Japan's political future, emphasizing the electorate's desire for a government that better addresses economic hardships and social issues. Nikkei Asia's detailed recount offers a visceral portrayal of the election night, where the tension was palpable as vote counts fluctuated and party leaders reacted in real time. The evening was marked by dramatic developments. Sanseito, a far-right populist party, surged from just 2 seats to potentially over 20, resonating with voters frustrated by stagnant wages and rising living costs. Meanwhile, veteran politicians like Taro Aso voiced their disdain for Ishiba's leadership, hinting at a possible leadership shakeup within the LDP. The voter turnout, notably higher than previous years, reflected a populace eager for change, yet the process was marred by logistical errors at polling stations, raising concerns about electoral integrity. As the final results loomed, the political atmosphere was charged with uncertainty, an unmistakable signal that Japan's voters are seeking a new direction, one that challenges entrenched power structures and responds more effectively to the nation's economic and social struggles. The Associated Press reports a chilling incident involving an off-duty U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer in Manhattan, who was shot in a park beneath the George Washington Bridge during what appears to be a botched robbery. The officer, sitting ununiformed, was approached by a man on a moped who shot him in the face and arm before fleeing the scene. Remarkably, the officer returned fire, and although no arrests had been made by the following day, authorities shared footage suggesting the suspect entered the U.S. illegally. This violent encounter underscores the rising dangers faced by federal agents amid increased enforcement efforts, with officials like Todd Lyons of ICE affirming that agents can continue to cover their faces for safety, highlighting the tense climate surrounding immigration and border security. The Sydney Morning Herald delves into the extensive and often hidden depths of border security data, revealing that immigration officials have access to a trove of personal information beyond just passport details. When scanning an e-passport, officers can view travel history, visa status, overstays, and security alerts from global databases, while the Passenger Name Record (PNR) and Advanced Passenger Information (API) systems provide detailed insights into a traveler's movements, payment methods, and even social media activity. These systems, used by countries including Australia, the US, and the EU, enable real-time surveillance and risk assessment, sometimes leading to detentions based on political statements or social media posts, as exemplified by an Australian man detained after his political blog post surfaced during a trip. This layered data collection illustrates how border security has evolved into an intricate web of digital surveillance, often with profound personal consequences. Nikkei Asia reports on Japan's critical upper house election, a pivotal event that could reshape Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's leadership amid a challenging political landscape. As votes were tallied, Prime Minister Ishiba publicly affirmed his intention to remain in office despite a tough campaign marked by issues like inflation, tax reforms, and immigration. The election results indicated a possible loss of the ruling coalition's majority, a historic shift since 1955, with opposition parties gaining ground and the ruling LDP facing significant setbacks. Political analysts interpret this as a clear rebuke from voters, emphasizing dissatisfaction with long-term economic policies and social issues. The election's outcome could force a realignment of Japan's political forces, with smaller parties like Sanseito gaining influence by advocating for nationalist policies, and the future of Ishiba's government hanging in the balance as the nation grapples with economic and security challenges. The Toronto Star vividly depicts the grim reality inside Alligator Alcatraz, a sprawling detention camp in Florida, where migrants from diverse backgrounds, including a Miami restaurant worker, an aspiring DJ, and an Italian passport holder, are held under harsh conditions. These detainees, many of whom have committed only immigration violations, describe their environment as akin to a concentration camp, marked by humiliation, poor treatment, and inadequate medical care. Stories like that of Fernando Ortiz, who was arrested while attempting to leave the U.S. with his family, highlight the dehumanizing experience, with detainees reporting issues such as worms in their food, forced outdoor confinement, and physical abuse. Despite official denials, accounts from detainees and their families paint a picture of suffering, neglect, and systemic mistreatment, revealing a detention system that often blurs the lines between legal enforcement and human rights violations. Nikkei Asia reports on the pivotal Japanese upper house election, emphasizing its significance for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's government, which is fighting to retain its majority amid a turbulent political landscape. Voters are grappling with issues like inflation, tax reform, and immigration, reflecting a nation at a crossroads. The election results, expected to be announced soon, could dramatically influence Japan's policy direction, especially as the ruling coalition faces the risk of losing power for the first time in recent years. The coverage underscores the low voter turnout and the high stakes involved, with early voting reaching record levels, signaling intense public engagement. Meanwhile, discussions about Japan's economic challenges, including trade negotiations with the U.S. and domestic concerns like rice prices and populist movements, frame this election as a critical moment for the country's future stability and international relations. The Independent reports on a troubling case involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran immigrant caught in the crossfire of the Trump administration's aggressive immigration policies. Abrego Garcia, who fled gang violence in El Salvador as a teenager, was wrongfully deported despite court orders blocking his removal. His return to the United States last month to face criminal charges in Tennessee has sparked intense legal battles, with federal prosecutors eager to bring him to trial while immigration officials plan to deport him again, possibly to a third country, before his trial begins. Court hearings reveal conflicting testimonies and questionable evidence, including allegations from officials that Abrego Garcia is a dangerous gang member, despite a lack of solid proof and evidence of witness collusion. His legal team accuses the government of trying to deport him unlawfully after his wrongful removal, highlighting the tension between justice and immigration enforcement, and raising concerns over human rights violations, including reports of abuse he endured in detention. Nikkei Asia covers Japan's pivotal upper house election, emphasizing the rising influence of far-right populism through the Sanseito party, which has surged from just 2 seats to potentially over 20. This election is critical for Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's coalition, which risks losing its majority amid economic anxieties, inflation, and contentious issues like immigration. The campaign has been marked by stark contrasts. While the ruling coalition seeks to maintain control, the far-right Sanseito's advocacy for the Japanese First policy and the abolition of consumption tax has resonated with voters struggling with stagnant wages and rising living costs. The election results are uncertain, with projections indicating a tight race and the possibility of a shift in power, especially as voter turnout remains low and errors at polling stations threaten the integrity of the vote. The outcome could significantly impact Japan's domestic policy and its diplomatic relations amid ongoing trade negotiations with the U.S. The Milwaukee Journal Sentinel highlights the vital role of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, in Wisconsin, asserting that their work is essential for maintaining security and order. Despite political debates and public controversy surrounding immigration enforcement, ICE's operations are portrayed as crucial in managing immigration flows, combating illegal activities, and ensuring community safety. Letters to the editor defend the agency's efforts, emphasizing that ICE's work supports law enforcement and public safety initiatives that benefit local communities. This perspective underscores the importance of immigration enforcement agencies in upholding national security, especially in regions like Wisconsin where immigration issues are prominent, and advocates argue that their work should be recognized and supported rather than politicized or undermined. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports a vibrant scene in Townsville, where the influx of international backpackers has created a bustling summer of activity, filling hostels and hospitality venues to capacity. However, this tourism boom is causing a labor shortage in the outback regions of Queensland, where farmers and local businesses struggle to find the seasonal workers they depend on. The popular Working Holiday Maker Visa program, which encourages young travelers to work and explore Australia for up to a year, is primarily drawing backpackers to the coast, leaving rural areas short-handed. Local business owners and industry leaders like Shane McCarthy are calling for incentives to attract these workers inland, emphasizing the benefits of outback life and the potential for longer stays, as more backpackers like Julieta from Argentina choose to extend their time in Australia due to the appealing weather and the inclusion of hospitality work in the visa requirements. Meanwhile, The Independent highlights a troubling case involving Luis Leon, an 82-year-old Chilean immigrant who was mysteriously detained and deported by ICE after losing his green card. His family, initially unaware of his whereabouts, feared he had died for weeks before discovering he had been moved from a detention center in Minnesota to a hospital in Guatemala. The case underscores the complexities and potential injustices within the U.S. immigration system, especially under policies that allow for the deportation of individuals to countries they have never called home. Leon's story, marked by his prior asylum status and clean record, raises concerns about the treatment of vulnerable immigrants, with many detained by ICE facing little to no criminal charges. His granddaughter plans to visit him in Guatemala, hoping to shed light on his treatment and advocate for more humane immigration policies. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Lights dim, voices loud, headlines flashing wild. World in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to vow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through. Heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight are Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey. Every story, every day, and clear we convey. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white.